you pray? Do you know, I think just about everybody prays. Even those who say they don't really believe in a God, I think they pray sometimes. It might be in the field of, I don't know, oh God, help me find a car parking space. Oh God, I need my car keys. But in an element, there's a calling out to God at that point. But for many people, they do pray. They do believe there is a God out there, and just occasionally they need to call on him for help. As those of us who follow Jesus, we are called to pray. We're called to pray because it's about partnering with God in all the great things he does. And he calls us and invites us to pray, to have that conversation with him, to bring our concerns to him and our love and our worship. So we're encouraged to pray. Jesus tells a story in Luke's Gospel, it's chapter 18, of a persistent widow. A persistent widow who was not getting justice from the judge. The judge was not interested. She was a persistent widow. She was annoying. And he tells the story, Jesus tells the story of how that judge just refused to give her any credibility, any listening. But she persisted. Time and time again she went back and said, hear my court case, hear my court case. And eventually the judge got so worn down by that persistence that he said, okay, I'll hear your court case and I'll listen to what you have to say. Luke, the writer of that parable of Jesus, he tells in his Gospel in chapter 18 why Jesus told that parable. He says, Jesus told his disciples a parable to show them that they should always pray and not give up. Always pray and not give up. It's really quite easy to give up, isn't it? To not pray at all. But actually Jesus calls us to always pray and not give up. To be like that persistent widow who persisted. And we're not dealing with a judge God like that. We're not dealing with one who's not interested in hearing from us, who's persistently telling us to go away. We're dealing with a God who loves us and wants to be part of all we are. So we're called to pray. And I know our prayers aren't always answered. Sometimes God needs to say no. Perhaps because our intentions are all wrong. You know, Lord, help me to be wealthy. I don't think that's a good prayer, really. And sometimes it's a wait, and the wait can be a very long time. But we're called to be persistent in prayer. I want to encourage you to think how you might just persist a little bit more in prayer. Not to suddenly say, I'm going to find 4 or 5 hours of prayer in a day and really make it my feature for that day, because that might be just too much. But how can you just push the boat a bit more? Push the boat out a little bit more. A few more minutes each day. And we've got a prayer emphasis day coming up next Tuesday. Wouldn't it be lovely if you could persist in prayer a little bit more than you do? Make a little bit more time. Carve out a little few more minutes to pray. The prayer emphasis day, there's a little card with the topics in our emails. Just take each topic and bring it to God. Now you could do that here in the church. A big, lovely, holy space. You could do it here in the quietness of room 4 where I'm recording now. You could do it at your home. You could do it at work. Just carve out a little bit of time and say, I'm going to give this to God in prayer. We're called to pray. We're called to be persistent in prayer, to always pray and not give up.